a story going around about a software engineer named Sammy Asdafal accidentally hacking 7,000 DJI drones. That part isn't entirely true. They weren't drones like the flying kind. They were the DJI ROMO or ROMO robot vacuums. Which is somehow less cool, but also more horrifying. So, because one of the drone can look in your backyard, right? But a robot vacuum can go throughout your entire house, right? And if that robot vacuum has cameras, a microphone, room mapping, cloud connectivity, and a back end that treats authorization like a side quest, congratulations, man. You didn't just buy a vacuum cleaner. You bought a rolling surveillance package with a mop.
Wow.
And I just want to get on this thing here. Why the hell did DJI build a freaking robot with a microphone? I can only think of one reason they put a microphone in that robot, and that's to like listen to you. Like, why are we building vacuums with freaking microphones? I mean, that's probably a subject for another video here. But I want to talk about what happened when this incident, how Samuel did it, what DJI did afterwards, why this matters to the whole Internet of Things, really the Internet attack surface, and also why it matters that this company is Chinese, because it really does matter. Hey, you've been watching this series, you kind of know the pattern. Chinese consumer hardware looks like a product, but it's also infrastructure that reports back. Your home's power supply is no different. Most Chinese branded residential systems are cloud dependent. You got forced updates, remote access baked in, data routed overseas. You think you're getting off the grid, you're just trading your utility company for a bureaucrat in Beijing. Same dependency, different flag. But NRAMP is built differently. Their batteries and inverters are designed and manufactured right here in the United States. Their firmware lives on in American servers, meaning no foreign entity concerned, no remote kill switch, no cloud you can't control. And they back it up. Their industry-leading warranty replaces any failed unit. After that, right to repair takes over, domestically sourced parts, Idaho-based support, source code, NRAMP actually owns. That's what keeps NRAMP systems running 30 years while your neighbor is on his 5th Chinese box here. That's what energy sovereignty actually looks like. Homeowners find NRAMP at the current connected in the link below. Business owners, NRAMP is actively expanding their distributor network. If you want to carry a product that your customers are already asking for, reach out. NRAMP, click the link below. Now, Sammy Asdafal says he wasn't trying to hack every vacuum cleaner on Earth. He was just trying to get his brand new DJI ROMO vacuum cleaner to be controlled with the PlayStation 5 controller, which honestly does sound kind of fun. So he reverse engineered how the thing talked to DJI servers, reportedly with help from Claude Code. Built a little client and then discovered that when his app asked the cloud for his robot, the cloud basically said, sure, here's thousands of other people's robots too. And according to The Verge, roughly 7,000 ROMO devices around the world started reporting in. And within 9 minutes, his laptop had cataloged 6,700 DJI devices across 24 countries and collected more than 100,000 messages. If you include DJI power stations on the same system, the number went to over 10,000 devices. And this is where stuff gets creepy. He reported he could see device serial numbers, battery status, what room the robot was cleaning, how far it had traveled, the obstacles it had encountered as well. And he could generate 2D floor plans of houses. He said he could remotely control the vacuums, view live camera feeds, listen to audio. Again, why does a vacuum cleaner have a microphone? And in one demo for The Verge, he pulled up another reviewer's robot with no more than a 12-digit serial number and watched it map the house from another country. That's not a vacuum problem. That's a cloud architecture problem. And technically, this doesn't sound like some Mission Impossible hacking scene. It sounds more like broken access control. OWASP calls this broken object level authentication, or BOLA. You're a valid user, but the back end fails to check whether you're actually allowed to access that specific object. So in plain English, the system verified that Sam Asdafal was a customer, but not that he was only allowed to talk to his own robot. So think of it like a hotel key card that you get, and you assume it works on your door, and then like it accidentally gives you access to every single other door in the hotel. As long as you're being honest, it's great, right? Now, this isn't like a wow, is a genius hacker kind of moment. It's more like, who the hell designed this thing? And the underlying plumbing here was MQTT, which is a lightweight messaging profile a lot of Internet of Things devices use because it's simple and fast. DJI later acknowledged that there was a back-end permission validation issue affecting MQTT-based communications. And I will tell you this, I have nothing. I have no Internet of Things devices in my house, not a single one, because it is basically an attack surface waiting to happen. And Asdafal's explanation was even more blunt here. He was an authenticated client on the MQTT broker, but there were not proper access level controls. So he could subscribe broadly, essentially, and see to everything and see messages from all sorts of devices. TLS can protect data in transit. Yay. But it doesn't fix the bad authorization once you're inside the system. Companies love to say your data was encrypted. Oh yeah, TLS, your data was encrypted. Cool. But it's kind of like saying, oh yeah, we have a big armored car here, but we're going to leave the friggin' door open. Yeah, it's still an armored car, but you can access the stuff inside. Now, DJI's own marketing for Romo makes this even more interesting because the company said the onboard robot sensors could be used to remotely check in on the home, talk with family, interact with pets. So I guess that's why you put a microphone on a robot. You can have the robot go over to grandma. Grandma, are you okay? And she can answer, I've fallen and I can't get up. Right? The question here, though, is that a feature anybody's actually going to use, or is it more dangerous to have it on the vacuum? And, first-time camera access did require two-form factor authentication, so you have to check in on your phone, and the video can be disabled when you're not in use. So this isn't just like some dumb floor puck that's just kind of bumping into your couch. DJI intentionally said that they envision this as a mobile home monitoring platform, which kind of says that like the blast radius here is a lot more than someone starting your vacuum at 3 a.m. Now this thing can spy on you.
Hello, Ryan.
This means it can make maps of private homes, give you inside camera access, microphone access, rough location data. So what did DJI do? Well, according to DJI, the company says they identified the issue in late January, had some internal security reviews, pushed one patch on February 8th and a follow-up on February 10th, and it said no user action was required because the fix is automatic. DJI also said that its activity saw primarily researchers testing their own devices, and they found no evidence that this data was broadly misused. But if your researcher isn't trying to do this, they're probably not going to find it, right? That all sounds great. Except The Verge said DJI told them that the issue is fixed. And then Asdafal demonstrated thousands of devices were still visible roughly 30 minutes later. And The Verge later reported the next day the scanner no longer had access to the robots, so I guess DJI eventually fixed the problem. Then in March, DJI published a long blog post saying that the issue had been fully resolved. It credited 2 outside researchers, and it said it would continue third-party audits. The Verge also reported that DJI paid Asdafal $30,000 for one of the discoveries in a separate pin-related issue, and both of those things have been resolved since late February. And another issue still being upgraded. And it is actually pretty common for companies to pay bounties to people that discover bugs. So to DJI's credit, they did patch and pay for and at least engaged with Asdafal. But this isn't exactly a clean win, because when a company says, hey, it's fixed, and then a journalist can still watch tens of thousands of devices being, checking in, like that's not great. So now let's talk about what this means for Internet of Things. The big lesson for the Internet of Things is that it's treated by way too many manufacturers like the Internet of Neat Gadgets instead of the Internet of freaking attack surfaces.
Where does it get those wonderful toys?
You should not have anything in your house that connects to the Internet other than the Internet. I would not. I do not. And the big lesson here is that a robot vacuum with cameras, microphones, app control, cloud connectivity. It's not an appliance. It's an entry point. It's a sensor platform. It gives you the layout of your home, your rooms, where your furniture is, what areas you use most, when you're active. In some cases, it can talk and look into the home remotely. And when all that runs through a central cloud server, the authorization mistake doesn't compromise one customer, it compromises everybody. This is why security people keep screaming about least privilege, locals only mode, data minimalization, and hard separation between customers. Your token should not let you query the planet. Your camera stream should not be a back-end mistake away to becoming like a public access TV show. And your vacuum doesn't need a freaking microphone. And let's also talk about the China angle here, because that's the elephant in the room. This is where people usually go from 0 to Area 51 in about 5 seconds. This incident is not proof that the Chinese government was spying on people through DJI vacuums, but like it does show a technical condition that would make espionage or insider abuse a lot easier and a lot more plausible if the back end is weak enough. So this back end could have been weak intentionally. And U.S. policymakers are already worried about exactly this category of risk. In January of 2025, the Commerce Department's Bureau of Industry and Security said that technology from entities subject to the jurisdiction of the People's Republic of China or even Russia can create unacceptable risks in connected vehicles, including exfiltration of sensitive data and remote manipulation. Would you buy a Russian car? Would you buy a Chinese car? You gotta be crazy to buy a Chinese car. At the same month, the Bureau of Industry and Security opened rulemaking on unmanned aircraft systems, saying foreign adversary-linked software in UAS can pose unacceptable risks, and that China's dominance in that sector creates exploitation opportunities, and it does. Separately, a 2025 Justice Department rule said connected software applications can access and capture vast amounts of personal information in ways that may provide foreign adversaries access to that data. So, like, we're not crazy here. The concern is that if you have a data-rich connected device and it's tied to a cloud backend made by a company under a legal and political system that the U.S. sees as capable of compelling cooperation, then a security failure isn't just a bug, it's a geopolitical vulnerability. And you know, the legal backdrop matters too. The U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission has written that China's legal system empowers state security services to compel individuals and organizations in China to assist intelligence operations by including granting access to networks or data. So when someone says, yeah, well, there's servers on AWS in the United States, that's not a freaking magic amulet against Chinese penetration. If the Chinese Communist Party sells some dude in China to go access that American AWS server and grab the data, they're going to do that. You don't need to prove an active spy plot here to recognize like bad architecture that's intentional. If a random or curious developer trying to joyride his own vacuum with a PS5 controller can stumble into this globe-spanning fleet of home mapping robots, then a determined criminal, an insider, intelligence services dude does not need a lot of imagination here. What's the bottom line? Sammy Asdafal didn't launch a cyber Pearl Harbor here. What he found was likely very old software in a very new package, authentication without proper authorization, wrapped around a product category that probably never needed this much tech, right? DJI did move to patch the problems. Apparently they paid him. That's good. But that is like the minimum acceptable response. The next lesson is bigger than DJI. We need to stop thinking of smart home gadgets as toasters with apps. They're computers with motors, they're cameras on wheels, they're microphones with batteries, and they're following you around the house. When you put these things inside millions of homes, the security standard cannot be, we'll fix it after some guy discovers the problem, right? It's better be good on day one. Because if your vacuum can map your house and talk to your dog and phone home, that thing is not a vacuum anymore. It's a reconnaissance platform that also picks up Cheerios. If you want to support the channel, ryanpet.substack.com. It's only $5 a month. And grab my Sea of America Sailing Club at Bunker Branding. Thank you so much for watching.
In the modern age of progress and preparedness, one thing separates the professional from the amateur: appearance. That's why forward-thinking Americans choose Bunker Branding Apparel, the official uniform of those who get things done. Each shirt is precision engineered and field tested under rigorous conditions such as extended YouTube filming operations, Substack editorial duty, and the occasional internet argument. Designed for comfort, durability, and undeniable sense of tactical cool. So remember, citizens, when you're defending democracy, refueling freedom, or simply mowing the strategic lawn, Bunker Branding keeps you mission ready, wrinkle-free, and unmistakably American.